Hello everyone, and welcome to this final video for UV Unwrap using my 2020, and we'll be basically completing the unwrap of our headphones. Let's begin. So let me unhide all of my parts. So far we're done with pretty much all of this side. Let's get to this piece, and this one. Let's begin with the easiest one. It's gonna be this, so the one in the middle. So if I go right here and I select my object, go to UV, I'll probably go with the camera based here in this orientation. Let's go UV, camera based, alright. Let's frame my object. I'll probably create one single seam. I'm just gonna cut, I'll cut it in the interior side right here. So let's go here and hit cut. So now if I select my UV shell, let's select everything, come back to our UV editor, let's hit after frame, and we'll go with our unfold. Alright, there you go, but it's closed on the other side. Alright, so what we can do, we'll redo it. We don't really need this set of polygons here, so let's go with face, and what I'm going to do is just basically delete that. And again, why I'm deleting it, it's because in reality it's hidden. We can't see it. And I'm gonna get rid of that triangle that I found here. Alright, there you go. So now we have our object. Let's go back to my UV shell, hit UV, come back here and hit unfold. Now this time I have a pretty cool or more interesting shape. And let me rotate it, and we'll go in to hit our straighten UVs. And now if I look at my piece of geometry, I have pretty nice unwrap here. My shell is of course a little too big for my viewport, and especially what we're going to get later to lay out everything. Alright, so there you go, I have a new piece. Go back to object mode. I will probably center its pivot, it will help for the future. And let's turn off isolation. We're gonna come to this guy here, let's isolate it, and okay, how are we going to do this one? What I'm going to do is, let's select my object, and I don't really mind right now about the final result, but I'll just go drop myself camera based unwrap so I see how my UVs behave. Let's go then to my edge mode here, and we'll probably start splitting this. So let's get to this whole side. That's going to be a little high. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I will separate this surface here first. And of course the one in the opposite way. So let's do this, and I will hit create UV shell. So now this is a new shell right here, so let's move it away. After that I'll come over to this side and do the exact same thing. So I'll go with face, and let's go with this 2, 3, 4, 5. And I will create another UV shell. Select my UV shell here, and let's move it away. Now looking at my UVs here, let me bring my monitor closer. See my UVs here, I have these two parts, but I don't really like what's going on here. It seems like there's some kind of a cut in this area. So let's go back to, sorry, my viewport, and we'll, I found it. So let's select this edge, this one, and this one, and we'll hit soup. So now it's one piece. Alright, so basically I removed all of these two faces to be able to, after that, to come over, select this loop here. Let's make sure I didn't select anything else and my viewport, and let's let's release it from here as well, and I will create a cut, which means that now if I go to my UV shell, I don't like the fact that this one's been cut. Let's go back to item, sorry. Also Control Z, I didn't want to cut the interior. Alright, great. So now I have my full loop here. Go back to wireframe. I will release the exterior, not the interior. Alright, let's do this. Let's basically just select them one by one. And again, it might feel a little long, but it's an accurate way of getting done with your parts. Not only quickly, but properly, so you don't have after that to spend hours basically fixing everything. So now I have the proper seam. Let me hit my cut. Now it's cut. Let me go to my UV shell. Now that it's selected, let's take a look at our view here, and let's hit unfold. Great. Let's rotate it a bit, and I will straighten my UVs. Fantastic. Okay, now let's take a look if I can stitch back these two little pieces to their place. So this way I will again avoid stitches. So I'll select the first one and go to vertex, and let's see which side it fits. This one was probably on the opposite way, which means that this one is here. Alright, so let's go to UV again. I'll select this group, basically move it away. Let's grab this series here. Let's get closer. So we're going to go to UVs and select this whole side here. Alright, let's select this group. Let's go to vertex so we can see which side fits. Alright, so we need to flip it right now. This side will represent this one, and me, I'd like to stitch it in this area, so I get rid of the exterior one. So to be able to get rid of the exterior seam, what I'm going to do is, let's go back to my UV shell here. Let me scale it down. I'll probably have to rotate it, and let's drag it where it's supposed to be stitched. Now let's go back to my vertex, and what I'm going to do, I'd like to make sure I grab the proper vertices. So again, I have one, go slightly higher, so it begins here. So we'll try to take the whole shell and move it up here. Let's go back to the vertex. Let's take a look. Fantastic. So now I can take my UV shell, select it all here, and then let's get to edge. Oops, I'm sorry. 2, 2, probably 2, and let's hit Sue. I got rid of this one. Maybe I can help myself again and get rid of this one as well. So let's take a look. Where is it? It's right here. So I'm going to go back to UV mode, select this group, drag this guy, bring it here. Let me go back an edge. Now we'll just sew those two together, and I removed another stitch. We'll be probably able to do that here as well. So let's go back to UV mode. Voila. Let's go back. I'll use edge because it's just easier for me to select, but you can use vertex, you can use whatever you're comfortable with, basically. And let's go back to my UV shell. So this is a pretty big single piece UV shell. Alright, and obviously it's up in here to get this guy, and right here, and I have only one seam, so I can use different areas of my object, keep it visible, and let's continue. So we're getting there now. Let's take it a little bit and make it a little bit smaller, so its checker map will fit a little bit of the rest. Let's go to my UV shell, that, oh, I forgot there's this one now. So we'll do the same thing as we did on the right side. Let's scale it down, probably as small as that. And it feels like if this one is stitched here, this one will be pretty much facing. So let's go back to vertex mode so we can see where's it going to attach. Alright, it's all this side. Take a look here. Let's take a look at this one. Fantastic. Time to rotate. So let's go to my UV shell. Get my rotation tool. Move to readjust the position. Let's go back to vertex so we can guess how high we are. Alright, I'll take my UV shell. I'll probably bring it here. Those two vertices are facing. Great, so let's take this UV shell and drag it as close as I can. Now I'll go in UVs. I'll probably drag that little group up a little bit so it faces properly its counterpart on the other side. This one as well. Let me do something. Yeah, I don't have any smoothing. I don't need any smoothing. Let's go to edge mode. 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's move this one first. Right here. Drag this group up here. Let's go in edge mode. I'm gonna go very quickly. 2, 2, 2 everywhere. Let's hit Sue, and we did our piece. Then I will probably close that triangle like I did here, which means that if I take this group and I drag it here, I'll take this guy, put it here. Let's go in edge. Let's sew these two pieces together, and we'll do the final one around this side. Let's go in edge, select, sew, and now that it changed a little bit the overall shape of my object, maybe I can go back with my UV shell, hit another unfold, and straighten UVs after that, and there you go. So now I have this piece that is ready. Select my UV shell, probably scale it down a little. Alright, let's put it somewhere here until we'll rearrange our whole UVs. So let me fix this area. I already don't really like what I see, so let's fix it right away. And let's go in edge. Let's find which edge it is in our UVs here. Right now, if I drag you up, there you're overlapping. So I'm gonna be close to this guy. It's not bad at all. So let's go back to object mode, and let's work on these two remaining parts. So let's deal with this one. Let's begin. So what I'm going to do, I will select the faces directly that I'd like to unwrap together, and to be able to do that, what I think I'm going to do is that I will select this whole area right here, control F11 to change my selection from edges to faces, but I will come over here and get rid of these faces, because that's gonna be probably the next part. Well, let's leave it as it is. Yes, but I have an interior to deal with. Let's go grab this guy. Yeah, let's get rid of this. Let me get back the ones that are just selected from here. Little parts here and there I might be missing. Okay, so we can get the contour here. Face my camera and go back to my UVs oops, I'm sorry. Control Z, UVs. Let's go to my camera based. Now I have my new little piece here. Alright. and I will come over and definitely cut it here before I will unfold. So this one is cut, and maybe let's make it just into different parts. Let's cut this one as well. Now I have two new seams, which means that if I go get this UV shell here and hit unfold, let's drag it towards the side while I have this UV shell here right now that I can unfold as well. So I have one, I have two, and let's find out what is this. Okay, that's inside this area. That's fine, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I keep it selected. Now I go select a couple of faces here. So I'm going to select that whole group here. Like this. Let me go get these two objects. And I'll go to UV and I will hit delete UVs. So now we got rid of it. So now I have this part here and this one. These are pretty straightforward, so it wouldn't be that hard for me to get my UV shell, change the orientation, sorry, on this one. Let's do the same thing here. Select them, stack them close to each other. Let's select both, hit unfold again, and straighten UVs. I now have two pretty nice shapes or shells that I'll scale down, and we're pretty soon we're gonna get done pretty soon. Yeah, exactly. Now let's go to my UV shells, because if I created that cut, that means this one can become a shell itself, right? So what I'm going to do, let's go to my UV shells. I'll select this one and this one. Let's give it a try with the select and inverse, and now I have these two that are separate, but I'm going to get rid of. I'll keep it for now, because after that I'll delete it. So what I want to do is to extract this side. So let's go to my UV, camera based, fantastic. Now I'm going to come back to my UVs. Let's go with faces. I'll select that whole group. Let's go to UV and I will delete UVs so I can redo it separately. So now I have two new UV shells. So if I go with my UV shell, I can select this one, that is my side view. Let's grab that here and hit unfold. Now let's get back to this side here. Let's give it an unfold as well, and I'll probably leave them like that for now, like this. Alright, so finally I'll have to deal with this part here. So let's go in face mode. Let's select it all, make sure I have all of my faces selected. And for this one, what I think I'm going to use is, let's go with UV, let's give it a camera based, just to kind of break everything. So then we can cut it, which means that I'm going to come over here on edge mode, and I'll go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hit cut. After that, I'll probably come over here. As I said, for what we're doing right now, we'll be using materials. We're not working on a character, we're working with a pretty simple object, where it's going to be the same material. So, of course, here the seams are not going to do the same effect or give you the same result. So let's go to my UV shell here. Let's hit my unfold. Let's come back right here. Let's move it away. Let's rotate it, and let's try if my straighten UVs will do the job. They're pretty cool one, yes. So let's go to UV, and what I'm gonna have to do is to drag that down maybe scale it a little so it fits with everything else, and it's right here. Let's grab the 4 vertices here. Alright, let's go back to my UV shell, increase its size. Then I have this piece that seems to be the remaining, and I will probably just try to unfold it, and this is what I've got, so that's fine. I can even leave it like that. So I'll select these 2 pieces, scale them down, stop here, and we'll have that kind of a funky shape, but we'll readjust it when we're going to get to the end and review each and every single object. So now in object mode, so again, I have another piece. What is it that we're missing? We're missing this little cube and this wire. So what I'm going to do, I will begin by the wire. Let's isolate the wire. Let's take a look at this face here. Is it the perfect tube that I have? Which means, do I have any faces? Yes, I have a face. So I will delete this face, because it will only cause problems when I'm going to get to unwrap this, and this is a wire. So basically, why would I really need let's get out of here, select this face and delete it. Then I'm going to go with edge, create a full selection, create a cut. Alright, but right here, just create a seam that is on top, and thinking about it, I'll probably put it underneath. So let's go back with Sue here, let's take a loop here, create myself a cut, select my UV shell, and let's hit unfold, and now I have my wire nice and wrapped as well. And I can definitely scale that down by a lot. And let's go back to object mode and my selection, and my 2 wires unwrapped, and we're going to go now to our final part right here, this one. So let's isolate it, let's hit frame, and I'll create my UVs on camera based again. Oops, I'm sorry, this is a projection. Camera based, I need to select my object, UV, camera based. I have my new UV set here. Now I'm going to create my cuts, so I need to go on edge, and I will cut it here at the bottom. And alright, let's create this cut, and we'll make them one after the other. Let's select this guy, this edge, this one, and probably here. Hit cut, and a cut here. And let's use this one to create a new cut, and cut the bottom. So that's going to be one face. Now if I go cut the interior as well, and let's give it a try. I need to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to go with 1, 2. Let's create my cut. Cut it here as well. So here's a new cut. Now let's go to my UV shell. So I'll select this group, and let's see if our cut's been done properly. Not really. There's a place that is not, haven't been cutting. So let's go on edge. Take this guy, create a cut, go back to my UV shell, and hit unfold again. And I'm getting this new piece of geometry. Let's move it up, maybe rotate it a little bit, and give it a try with my straighten UVs. Now if I scale it down, should have a much more interesting piece. Now I'm going to take this guy as well, UV shell, right here, select this one, and let's hit unfold. I'm going to take this one, and let's give it an unfold. And now don't forget, this is a very little tiny piece that is hard basically to see until a certain point. So let's select my UV shells, probably these two, move them up. Let's rotate this one, this, and straighten. Let's take this one, rotate it, and straighten as well. Now move them close to each other, drag them up, and we'll probably scale all of that down. Now let's go back to object mode, unhide, and here we are. We unwrapped our object. I'm basically missing this little piece here. This one is a little messed up, so let's make this last part. And on this last part, I'll go with which part? Alright, I'm gonna get here, go back to my object, UVs, delete UVs. Now I'm gonna go to perspective. Let's frame my object. Take this, select my object. Let's go with UV. I'll probably go with the camera based right now. This way, what I'm going to do is get this loop here. Can create a cut. I'm going to take one at the bottom, I'm sorry. Right here. Let's create myself a cut. Alright. Now in this area, I'll select this one here. And I'll give it a cut as well. If I take my object here, let's go to my UV shell, select this, and unfold, select this, and unfold. Now I still have this part here. This one's camera based as well. So what I'm going to do, I will maybe separate the bottom part. So I'm going to edge right here, select this group, give it a cut, select UV shell right here, it's a new one. Let's give it an unfold, and I'm going to go an edge, create a long cut all the way here, but not for the bottom. I'm going to keep the bottom as it is right here, like that. Create a cut, okay, keep it as it is, it's fine. So I created myself a cut, and I come back here, create another cut, I split this side as well, so I can come back to this one, go to UV shell right here, there you go, hit unfold. Now if I take this guy out of cut as well and hit unfold, I'll have my little tiny parts. So let's go back to unhiding everything. Let's select that little group, make it even much smaller. This guy here, let's hit unfold, which is great. These two, get them together like this. Let's go back to object mode, and here we are with our fully unwrapped object. Now when you created all of your unwrap, what is it that you're missing? You need to stack all of that together. So let me go select all of the objects in my scene. So you see all of these pieces of UVs, and let's see if we'll be able to arrange them very quickly with a proper result. So I'll go to arrange and layout, and I will say layout. Oh, I need to select my UV shells, I'm sorry. Alright, so that's what my layout gave me. I have the two wires here, and all we're going to do is to basically optimize this map to be able to export it to Photoshop. Now what I need to remember, what you need to focus on, is the bigger pots. If they are bigger, they require much more room to get the job done. So if I go get this one that is, you can't neglect here, as well as this guy, this one, the interior of my headphones. So let's go by object mode now. With this guy, this, and I will change the size of these shells versus the other ones that are smaller. So I'm not going to go with the same room for this area where I'm going to put a sticker and a brand or something versus the other one. So I need much more space to get my headphones to look beautiful, because that's what we're going to see first. And I'll go finally with this one as well as this one. So now if I go to select and I'll go convert selection to UV shell. Oops, I'm sorry. So let's go with select, convert selection to shell. Alright, so that's what I have. I can go back here and I will scale all of that up, because these pieces require much more room than the remaining. I'm going to move them away. So this way, what I'm going to go now and select and inverse my selection, I can see there's a lot of tiny pieces here. I'm going to turn into UV shells and stack them together, because they do not require the same resolution that I'll need for all of my objects. And this is again where it gets you to work manually versus automated systems. I mean, you can have a pretty nice layout, but if that layout basically doesn't fit with your image, it might become a little bit problematic. So let me just go and stick all of these little tiny pieces together. Let's go here, let's rotate it, and still work on a clean unwrap if you have the proper time and you have enough time. I mean, try and get it right, definitely from the beginning. Again, these are my little tiny pieces. I'm not going to give them as much room for everything else, so that's why I'm scaling everything down a little. Let's get this. So now if I create my snapshot to export it to Photoshop, first software to texture, what I'm going to do is to go to my UV snapshot options, which is basically the camera here. I will keep it at 2048 by 2048, leave it as a JPEG. I'm going to go with a black edge color here, or sometimes using red can be, oh no, my headphones are red, so I keep it. In black I have one UV tile in U and one in V, which means just one. If I had more tiles here, I would have increased that. And let's take a look. Apply and close, and the destination already has a file because I forgot to basically name my file, and let's go to my images, and I will call this one head phones UV. Let's hit save, and I'll go apply and close. And from here, we'll be able to send that to Photoshop and start painting. Thank you for following, and see you in the next video.